which is that Grand Tour and Clarkson's Farm might be getting cancelled, and I feel like pure ass, to be honest. I just need Clarkson's Farm back. I love Clarkson's Farm, even though it's only the one series so far. Supposedly, they're doing series 2 and 3 still, but it was so wonderful, so wholesome, so just genuine.
Enlightening.
It was. You're absolutely right. It gave a proper insight into the life of what British farmers go through.
And also just the
a day in the life of your average British farmer.
But the absolute nonsense they have to go through in regards to state interference.
Oh yeah, just like you're not allowed to put grain in the corner of this particular place because it's a fire hazard. I mean, that's maybe it is a
you didn't pick the best example there.
Maybe it is a fire hazard, but still, you know.
I was thinking more when he opens the shop and they're like, "This isn't allowed because you don't have a toilet." I'm like, what? Don't take
We're in a field. We're in nature's toilet.
Although the most recent news is he's built a restaurant. And he took pictures of the restaurant. Looks absolutely lovely. And they were like, yeah, it ruins the nature of the quaint village. It's the quaintest restaurant you've ever seen.
I know I've been to the little village where it's all based in. It is a really lovely, quaint little village. But I've not seen an image of the restaurant. But I trust.
Oh, it's great.
I trust that it's
Very
just
cute.
a lovely little village restaurant. You know?
The kind of thing anyone else would build in a little village like that. Except he's built it in the middle of a field. And then they're like, yeah, this is ruining the whole village. It's like, it's in a field. You can't even see it.
Why'd they let him build it in the first place?
I don't think they gave permission. He just did it.
Oh, well,
it's Clarkson.
That is very Clarkson. And we do like Clarkson. Clarkson's a very entertaining man, but he is in trouble. He is in big trouble at the moment because he said some very nasty things about everyone's favourite Meghan Markle. I'll get into it in a moment, but first, just another promo for the recent article I did, Anatomy of the Communist. Still really happy with this article. If you want a good beginner's guide to what the communist means outside of pure economics, I'd say this is a good article. It's been getting some good reviews. So yeah, check that out. It's premium, so be at least a bronze tier member to read it, and if you've got silver tier, then great, you can check out the audio track as well. Anyway, let's get into it. So what exactly did Jeremy Clarkson say about Meghan Markle? You probably already know this, but he said a few things about Meghan Markle, all of them very based.
I don't like her.
Yes, that would have been enough, but instead he chose to make a pop culture reference, which the media chose to purposefully misinterpret because, of course, they did, because they've got to make the big performative show of it all to make sure that Meghan Markle knows that they're still on her side. So he said he was writing a column for The Sun, and he said at night, this was about Meghan Markle and how much he hates her, and to be fair, if I could make a few bob from The Sun just writing columns about how much I dislike Meghan Markle, I would as well. At night, I'm unable to sleep as I lie there, grinding my teeth and dreaming of the day when she is made to parade naked through the streets of every town in Britain, while the crowds chant shame and throw lumps of excrement at her. He also said that he hated Markle not like he hated Nicola Sturgeon or Rose West. Bear in mind that Rose West is a notorious not serial killer, but she did murder one of her daughters, I think, and also abused many children, and was the wife of Fred West, who is a serial killer from England, but on a cellular level. So he hates Meghan Markle even more than he hates Rose West. Now, this is not a serious statement.
I agree with it.
While I agree, this is an obvious joke. Do you think that there is any room for misinterpretation that he is being serious or joking?
Not unless you're a liar.
Not unless you're a liar. Well, it turns out the entirety of the Western media is liars because, of course, there was a massive hullabaloo about all of this. It's very performative because, as if nobody's watched Game of Thrones, as if everybody getting angry about this hasn't watched Game of Thrones, knows what scene he's referring to there, and decided to just take it out of context and try and turn it into a big thing anyway, which sadly has worked because the entirety of the media class loves Meghan Markle because she is their golden goose. She keeps getting deals for some reason. I can only assume that when she was in the Hollywood sphere that she made a few friends, so to speak, in the Weinstein manner, perhaps.
I haven't got anything to say on that.
See, Callum agrees.
I can't get over
if Callum doesn't respond, the Shumi agrees.
There's just this absolute madness obsession with her, and I think it's because they want to destroy the royal family. Fundamentally.
Yes.
Like any kind of structural hierarchy needs to be destroyed, and that's the main one.
And she gives them the slightest... It's terrible ammunition. It's really stupid ammunition, but it's still ammunition. And the only people they need to convince are people who already agree with them.
Well, the West is so weak, any accusation of racism befuddles our elites for some reason. And she's not even black, which is funny, just on a number of levels.
Average Mediterranean woman.
I can't.
And when I say average, I mean very mid.
Bay State was absolutely right, though. It's just like, Meghan is black.
Like she said that she was white in some applications for job roles and,
Her
and,
CV.
and auditions.
Her
And
CV
such.
says she's white, but her media profile says she's black.
And then when she was on Suits, she had to explain like 5 series in. Oh, by the way, I'm black, and everyone was like, "What? Really? Are you? Okay.
You should be on the other side of this legal firm.
Why aren't we defending you?"
That's a joke.
Yeah, he's also made some other claims about her statements in the past, where he said about the Netflix deal in 2020. He said which would see them produce shows that would inform but also give hope. I didn't know that was one of the ways that they tried to sell it. That's rubbish. Inform but also give hope. That's a meaningless statement. Clarkson told The Sun, "They will be drivel. £100 million to make shows and films that inform and give hope. Kill me. I'd be much..."
He's right.
He's so
So
right.
I know.
He says here, "I'd be much better at making their programs, as I don't give an S about anything they give an S about. Just awful." So Clarkson, it turns out, has incredible predictive power, because it was drivel, and it was nonsense, and it was just awful. So he's absolutely right there. And he also said, "When Meghan Markle told me to leave the car at home, I wanted to shoot a polar bear in the middle of its face." That was as part of his final column of the year for Times, apparently.
Again, great. It's just, I'm sorry. Like, I know there are a lot of people who don't like Clarkson, but the guy is funny as hell.
Clarkson's hilarious. I find it very difficult not to like Clarkson. I know a lot of people want to hate him because they know he's like... he's pretty conservative. He's very outspoken in his opinions. He's very offensive towards people. And but you can't help but love him.
It's on a comedic level, I
charming.
mean. Like, I know the politics is easy. Like, he's denounced Twitter as a left-wing L-hole. He hates Jeremy Corbyn, so forth.
He called out Sage for being full of communists.
Yeah, the climate change is just like, stop being retarded. Actually figure out this instead of just ranting.
Most of his segments on Top Gear were dedicated to making fun of green cars.
But on the comedic level, like, yeah, there are a few bits he's done where he just, like, it's so performative, I don't find it funny. But on stuff like this, it's just great.
It's hilarious. He said, so for his final column of the year for the Times, he said he gave Christmas holidays and Christmas greetings to everyone. He said, hope yours is happy too, and that all of you, except Meghan Markle, have a great break. See you on the flip side. This is obvious racism.
With a drawing of him shooting a polar bear in the face.
This is evil. He's a hateful bigot. I can only assume it's because she's black. John, if you could scroll down just so we can see how black Meghan is.
She's,
as you can see there, deep from the jungles of... I'll stop there. That might be actually...
like a Congo tribe or something.
Yeah.
She's actually so black. She's the blackest human being ever.
She's so black, it actually doesn't get captured on photography very well. The flash photography reflects off her skin and makes her look white.
You ever seen the president of South Sudan?
No.
He is probably the blackest world leader.
President
ever?
South Sudan.
Yeah, with the cowboy hat.
All right,
I
okay.
think he's a Dinka, not a Newer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. He's
Now he's black.
Now he's a black man. Meghan Markle, no.
No, what we're missing here is that given it cuts off at the waist, right? What we're missing is she's wearing a grass skirt on the bottom half of this image. We just can't see it.
You're making jokes, but like I can imagine, because you remember when Nancy Pelosi did that, essentially? Yeah. Remember the African scarf or whatever it was?
Oh yeah, here he is for everybody watching. But yeah, what were you... Carry on.
I can actually imagine Meghan Markle coming out someday with one of those stupid African scarves that Nancy Pelosi wore.
Oh, she'll be wearing like Pan-African colours or something like that.
Like she's got some pharaoh earrings that are way too big for no reason.
we were pharaohs.
Yeah. You know the kind of people... Africa is all the same place. We was the Egyptians, we was the Zulus, we was Somalis, and we was East Africa. It's just like,
we were Shakespeare's,
and we're Liberian. It's like you have no idea what any of these things are, do you?
But yeah, because of the incredibly innocuous, incredibly tame comment, Game of Thrones reference that Jeremy Clarkson made, this means that he has to be dragged over the coals and made an example of publicly because they've decided, like I said at the beginning, they're going to cancel Clarkson's Farm and Grand Tour, reportedly. This is according to a Variety article which said that they're likely to part ways, and this is not because they've decided they're just going to cancel it in the middle of filming. What it's done, they've filmed a bunch of both of these shows. I think Grand Tour's got 4 episodes left that haven't been aired yet, and Clarkson's Farm's got the second and third series, but they've just decided they're not going to renew the contracts for it, which sucks, because I really like Grand Tour as a spiritual successor to Top Gear, which was not the same at all after Clarkson, Hammond, and May left. And Clarkson's farm is just charming. It's lovely, charming, and, like you said, actually informative. It is unique. It is. And so, like I say, they won't be renewing. On December 19th, in response to all of this, Clarkson issued a statement on Twitter saying that he was horrified to have caused so much hurt and would be more careful in the future. Sun pulled Clarkson's column from its website and released its own statement of apology. We at the Sun regret the publication of this article, and we're sincerely sorry. And on Monday, January 6th...
never apologise, does nothing.
Yeah, never do any of this. Every time you see something like this and they get cancelled anyway, just look at everything they did and go, okay, that's what I shouldn't do. You shouldn't apologise.
I don't know if you've actually seen the full apology Clarkson released, but he starts it off by saying that apologising never seems to work, but anyway, here's a go, and then he does the whole thing, and it's like, you know this doesn't work.
And then at the end, he signs it off as well, going like, I don't think this will actually do anything, but hey-ho, there you go. That's basically what he does. His apology is layered in so many, is concealed in so many layers of this is probably bollocks that won't work, and he's right.
My agent wrote this.
Yeah, literally. Well, we'll find out why he wrote it in a moment. But yeah, he did the apology. It said, "I really am sorry. ITV, who make Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and Amazon, who make The Farm Show, and I like that he calls it just The Farm Show, and Grantor were incandescent. I therefore wrote to everyone who works with me saying how sorry I was." He then said that on Christmas morning, he emailed Prince Harry and Meghan Markle to apologise to them directly. In response, a spokesperson for the Duke and Duchess of Sussex said that Clarkson wrote solely to Prince Harry. I mean, that's the wrong... You need to write... If you need to sort this out, you need to write to the man of the house, and that is definitely not Prince Harry, let's be honest. Before adding, while a new public apology has been issued today by Mr. Clarkson, what remains to be addressed... is his long-standing pattern of writing articles that spread hate rhetoric, dangerous conspiracy theories, and misogyny. And there it is. That's why the one apology will never work. I don't think he's ever done anything like that. He's only ever pointed out the truth.
I hate Meghan Markle. That's a conspiracy theory.
Yes.
What, between myself and her?
A conspiracy of one. Yes, I do hate her. You've been foiled again, Clarkson. No, it's nonsense, because what happens when you apologise is they go, oh, okay, great, we've got wiggle room then. All right, apologise for existing. That's why
we move to sentencing. You've been found guilty.
Yeah, there you go. You've just basically, it's just an admission of guilt in the court of public opinion. So never do it, because you're not guilty. You're just speaking the truth. Clarkson, there is no need to apologise. You are obviously just joking, and it's just performative, all of the outrage that's come off the back of it. But the likely reason that he actually did the apology in the first place is because of the fact that he's doing his beer, Hawkstone, and it turns out the business partner that he has on Hawkstone beer, a man called Johnny Hornby, if we go to the next article, this Daily Mail one, is on the board of Prince Harry's charity Sentable. So it was actually Johnny Hornby basically forced him to do the apology. Also because
why? Who gives a crap about Prince Harry's charity? Hawkstone Lager's a way cooler.
Yeah, well, Hawkstone Lager was also going to get pulled from a bunch of pubs because of the claims. So he was like, okay, right, well, we don't want to lose money on this investment, so you've got to make the apology just so we can stop it getting pulled. Well, keep it getting pulled in the pubs.
God, so dumb. So imagine being a pub owner like where he said bad things about Meghan Markle. Like, her name is mud in this country.
Everyone hates her. The fact that there is even a single pub in this country that wants to stick up to Meghan Markle so much that they're willing to get rid of... Yeah, there you go. Oh, you've pulled Jeremy Clarkson's beer. You were serving it, but you don't do it. Oh, goodbye. I'll take my business elsewhere. Thank you.
Yeah, there's no other pubs in the country.
Especially in the rural countryside, where you can literally you can be in the middle of nowhere in the English rural countryside, miles away from anywhere, and there will be a pub around the corner.
Yep.
And that's why this is a glorious and beautiful country, as far as I'm concerned.
You're not wrong.
No, I'm not wrong at all. I'm right, as always. There is a petition out there. Last time I looked, it was almost at 40k signatures, but now it's gone up past it's gone past 50k signatures. Let's get to 75,000. Just because he's also, I think he's hosting Who Wants to Be a Millionaire right now, from what I've read.
And as you can see, the Free Speech Union are the ones who made this. They continue it.
They actually wrote a really good little piece underneath it. If you scroll down, John, they've basically written a little letter, a little essay, explaining why it's stupid. Because ITV's CEO wants to get rid of him, supposedly, so they're like, this is stupid.
Yeah. The point in this being that making public support publicly visible so that no one can claim that, oh, he's not liked or something. It's like, no, demonstrably, he is in the favour of the public.
So I think it was 60 MPs wrote a letter accusing Clarkson of expressing violent hate speech, and that's what they say in here. But the only people I've seen be annoyed at Clarkson for the column in the first place were other members of the media and MPs.
Yeah.
No normal person.
The very elite.
Yes, no normal person was annoyed at that. Most normal people probably read it and went, yes, rightfully so, sir. As is your public duty if you are English. If you are English, it is your public duty to desire to be one of those people flinging excrement at Meghan Markle in the middle of the street.
That's your definition of are you? Need a citizenship test? Well,
How much
cardboard cut out of Meghan. Here you go. Go on, throw it.
Go on, get right in there. Don't be afraid. I know you want to. But at least two of the signatories of this MP's letter, they point out, have used similarly intemperate language themselves, including Callum's girlfriend, Claudia Webb, who was found guilty of harassment in 2021.
Yep. I want to throw excrement at Meghan Markle. I want to throw acid at my ex-husband.
This is perfectly fine and acceptable. We are a liberal society. We don't want to restrict your freedom, Claudia.
I can't remember the exact details of the acid throwing.
Yeah, having been accused of throwing acid at her partner's lover, among other things, if that reminds you of anything.
Yeah.
While Zara Sultana, MP, sent a tweet telling someone whose views on Israel she disagreed with to jump off a cliff. Was it Sultana was also the one who liked the stay quiet for the sake of diversity? Which one was that?
No, that was Naz Shah. She's probably written the letter also. But Sultana is the baby of the house. I believe she was the... Oh, no, that's Nadia Whittam, who's even dumber. They're basically the British squad.
There's a hierarchy of retardation among these people.
Yeah, they're all in their 20s, all completely brainlets, and a few of them have had to take time off being an MP because it's just too much. Like, I think, what was it, Nadia Whittam took
politics.
she took like 3 months off for mental health reasons, and it was just like...
All paid for by the taxpayer, I'm sure.
But she wasn't doing anything excessive either. She was just... Her reason for why she had mental health problems was she had to answer a whole 60 emails a day. It was like... All right, you became an MP. What did you think? People weren't going to write to you?
I mean, I would expect that. That's like the minimum to expect from an MP, surely.
So your whole job is representation, but people keep writing to you.
And let's be honest, most of those emails will be stock questions that you will be
and your staff take care of them.
Yeah, you'll just get your staff, or you'll just get a little script that you can copy and paste into it. I've done that sort of thing before. Obviously not MP work, but answering emails is a very easy job.
And she pushed her to the point of PTSD, she said.
Oh, God. If you're answering 60 emails a day, you can get that done in about 3 hours.
Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, and they also point out to apportion extra weight to a complaint because the complainant is rich and powerful. Worse, to sack Clarkson because he upset a duchess would be to send a message to ITV's on-screen talent, including your news and current affairs reporters, that saying anything that annoys somebody well-connected and influential may result in them losing their jobs. A good point, but I think one of the reasons it came down particularly hard against Clarkson is that he has never been one to toe the line or just stick to the narrative. So he's always been very outspoken. So that very fact, they just saw this as an opportunity. This is just completely performative and opportunistic. But instead of just lying down and taking all of this, Jeremy Clarkson decided, instead of just making inflammatory statements, he was going to write this particular column for the Times, where he just points out exactly what's going on. We're in the middle of a massive leftist coup. He does ask who's behind it. Who the hell's behind it? So I can't wait for this particular article to be denounced as anti-Semitism. But let's read it anyway.
Coup.
A coup?
You said coop.
Did I say coop? Bloody hell.
It's a chicken coop.
There's a coop here and someone's behind it.
There's a leftist coop in my farm, says Clarkson. He just starts killing chickens.
Oh, I can't wait for season 3. Oh, that's going to be amazing when that comes around.
This one only lays red eggs.
You go to Diddley Squat Farm Shop, you've got the heads of the chicken impaled on the outside. Let this be a warning to you.
little signs around their necks. Just say what they've done wrong.
Communist.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I'll just read through some of this because it's a really good article and he's very on the money about some things. He even puts forward some imagery that I know Carl was particularly fond of when he read this. So my son came over for a father and son pre-football supper the other day, and as he fussed over the agger, am I pronouncing that right? You're the one with football, brother, so I assume you'll know. All right, okay. The agger, making a particularly fine stir-fry. Oh, I think that might be a rich person thing, an agger, who knows. We laughed about what innocuous word had been banned that day and who'd been cancelled. And then, after a pause, he said with a solemn face, "You do know there's a war going on, don't you?" That's right, Clarkson's son. Radicalise the boomers. That's what we need to do. I'd love his son to go, Dad, Jeremy, have you ever read this Evola guy? He makes some great points. Could you imagine that? He was talking about a full-on left-wing campaign to unstitch and burn the fabric of Britain. And the genius is that no one really knows that what they're doing is serious. We laugh as they change the name of the Sir Francis Drake Primary School to something less slavey. We think it's all a big joke, but it isn't. Think about what typically happens in a military operation, and then look what the woke left has done here. It seized control of our television and radio stations to such an extent that last week Sophie Rawworth said on the BBC News at 6 with a straight face, and now over to our LGBT and diversity correspondent. I think we missed this particular clip, didn't we? They've just got their own correspondent. I assume.
Yeah, they've had it for a while.
Oh, really? Do they just talk to them about gay stuff?
Queer stuff, not gay stuff.
Queer stuff. For this awfully queer. We've got an awfully queer story for you.
That would actually be, it would be really funny if it was a really upper class, old style gentleman who was.
There's a rather queer events going on.
Who was forced to do that as his job, to be the LGBT correspondent.
That would be subversive brilliance. When was the last time you saw a fictional police force hunting down a gang of Muslim extremists? It's always the far right, and it's the same story in comedy. Say anything you like about Boris or Rishi and the laughter track is turned up to 11, make a joke about she-him pronouns or Greta Thunberg, and they'll blow a piece of tumbleweed across the stage. Yep. I mean, he's basically just pointing out the obvious.
The TV is propaganda.
Yeah, the TV is propaganda, but it is nice to see somebody of Jeremy Clarkson's clout do this, because in the same way that we've pointed out that people will see what's on TV, the whatever the pundits on QI say, or have we got news for you? That must just be the truth. People look at Jeremy Clarkson in a similar way.
How edited that stuff is?
No, I don't actually.
Like, have I got news for you? I've been told that what is it, like 45 minutes runtime? They'll film for like 2 to 3 hours sometimes, just because there's so much that's not funny.
Oh, I bet.
It's an actual crap show, but you cut down.
Well, when I was in
least non-boring bits.
When I was in university, they did keep offering us free tickets to go to next door was BBC and ITV and all of these places, and they sold the tickets for these shows online, like Jeremy Kyle show and stuff like that. Nobody wanted to go see them. Nobody wanted to be in the audience, so they would always have like dozens of free tickets left over afterwards, and they would just try and fob them off to the students, like, there's 50 extra seats in the Jeremy Kyle audience tonight, do you want, please take them. And that's because, like you say, these shows are so heavily edited that actually experiencing them live is just going to be rubbish.
Why would you do it?
Yeah.
I think it's on Deal or No Deal. They actually have to get the audience drunk. So
really?
Yeah, an old physics professor of mine, he mentioned that his son was on there. There's a beautiful clip of his son going, like the last box, but of course it's boring as hell because they're just opening boxes. So they just give everyone free whiskey.
That's a brilliant point. They're just opening boxes, guys.
Yeah. So I mean, when you think about it, yeah, of course the audience are all plastered. They're all sat there just like out of their mind. Then they know they've got to play the game.
And that makes sense as to why they always cheer when the sign lights up, because like I don't think a bored,
you can't do it unless you're drunk.
A bored, sober audience, they see the sign light up and they're just going to sit there and like. I wouldn't be surprised if you got some people just like flipping off the sign, just like screw you. But yeah, like I say, there's the idea of if Sandy Toksvig said it, it must be true. So can we get if Jeremy Clarkson said it, it must be true as well? Because he's like similarly in that upper echelon of the UK media sphere, shockingly, and they keep trying to cancel him. Hopefully, this one probably won't stick. It never seems to stick on Clarkson. He just lets it roll off his back.
Yeah, I mean, even if they do cancel Clarkson's farm, he's got enough money. He'll just restart the show.
Yeah, he'll just find a different network who are willing to make millions and millions of dollars to support the show instead. But he does say here, who's doing the erasing, who's making the rules? That's just it. We don't have a clue. And this is where Clarkson needs to make an appearance on Lotus Eaters, because god damn it, we can educate him as to who's doing this. But once again, him just asking who's doing this, I guess we don't know. This will be accused. This will be.
We got the names.
I mean, this article will be foisted by the ADL within time. But obviously it's the arch managerial class. Gates, Blair, WEF, Stooges,
Anyone
Soros.
mentioned in that Tucker Carlson article?
Yeah, anybody in that Tucker Carlson article, like, who's they, Tucker? While Tucker stands in front of the rogues gallery of who they are.
New York Times are like, is it the Jews, Tucker? Is like, well, no. No.
I mean,
like,
there's a few Jews, but they're not all of them. Come on.
You can see the ones that are Jewish and not. I've got the names. You can check the early lives. What do you want?
He carries on saying, you probably think because you don't know this war is going on that when you drop little Johnny off at the school gates, he's going to learn the 9 times table that day. No, he isn't. He's learning that he might actually be a girl, which is why there are probably tampon dispensers in the boys' lavatories. At least Arthur Scargill had the decency to get on a soapbox and state his aims in public. This lot don't. They sit at home, hiding in the impenetrable shadow of anonymity, inventing new rules to ensnare anyone and everyone they deem to be unworthy. Excuse me. Monty Python joked in the Spanish Inquisition that there was a crime of heresy by thought, but today it's a reality. And yeah, this is a really good article from Clarkson. It kind of makes up for the fact that he apologised, because he obviously apologised for purely self-serving, please keep serving my beer reasons. But then he comes out and says this, and hopefully some of the boomers will read this and understand a bit better what's going on. And speaking of people who want to destroy the UK, and this is the exact kind of person, he may consider himself conservative, but this is the exact kind of person that Clarkson is talking about, who wants to destroy the UK with his transing of children position as well. That's Tom Harwood saying South East England is full, implying that all of these beautiful fields and farmland that is probably actually being used, except Tom is too much of a midwit to understand.
It's just wasteland, actually.
Oh yeah, it's just wasteland. This is just
how these people see it.
This is just completely rural, no one's doing anything. This would be much better as a massive concrete block. Which it wouldn't. But yeah, Clarkson's in trouble. It won't stick, as always. But please don't cancel Clarkson's Farm. It's great. It's great, just don't.
If you appreciated that segment from the podcast of the Lotus Eaters, you can go to lotuseaters.com to get access to all the premium content we have on the site, such as the Epoch series, this one on Tiberius Claudius Caesar. And if you'd like to find out what else we put out, you can follow us on Getter at lotuseaters_com on Getter. Thank you and goodbye.